Good evening, everyone. Phil here. Welcome to the Daily Wrap for what was Tuesday, the 21st of May, 2024. Also known as Hellblade 2 Day. I played Hellblade 2 all day. Not only did I play it once, I played it twice, and I did an extended late stream thinking that maybe I could beat the game based on feedback, but it didn't happen. But allow me to very briefly summarize my thoughts on this game and how it went. So first of all, on today's Level 1 podcast, we covered a variety of topics once again. Some interesting news about some acquisitions in the gaming world, and also a big discussion about AI. So if you are interested in those topics, check out the podcast from this morning, okay? Hellblade 2, all right? If you played Hellblade 1, you know Hellblade 2, because it's pretty much almost the same game. It's puzzles, it's some combat, there's a lot of walking, there's a lot of story exposition. Senua's voices in her head are constantly talking to her and stalking her and haunting her. In particular, the difference is that this game has a lot of supporting characters. In the first game, it was pretty much Senua the entirety of the game, having these hallucinations and things going on, and you didn't ever know if any of it was real. In Senua's saga, there are other characters who she interacts with and who are part of the story, and they're not, at least from what you can tell, hallucinations. So it's definitely different from the first game in that regard. At the same time, I will say this. There is a weird pacing issue in this game. There is ridiculously scary, gory stuff in the second act, which happens around the second hour of the game. And then what ends up happening is later on, other things happen that are scary, but you know that these things are pretty much just in her mind, so it's not scary at all. In the first game, it was actually scarier because you never knew what was real and what wasn't. In this game, you kind of do. If what I'm understanding the game to be. And I don't know, I just felt like, to me, the first game, always having this ominous feeling of, is anything going on real? Or is it all in Senua's head? Was always a scary thing. And always trying to figure out the plot and stuff. In this one, honestly, it seems more straightforward, less confusing. But in that regard, it actually makes it less entertaining. To know that there was this big physical threat in real life in the second hour of the game kind of takes away from the whole feeling of threat of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you have the confusion factor? Is it supernatural or is it not? Actually added to the game in the first one, and you don't really get that in this one. In addition, it's a different location, and a lot of people may be burned out because guess what? It's Norse. Well, guess what? We've had Norse shit in so many games in the last 5 to 10 years, you might be completely burned out on that, right? Let me put it this way. I don't dislike the game, but definitely this game did not feel like it innovated much at all from the original, at least the 6 hours in that I'm in right now. Perhaps at the end, but I don't think so at this point. The combat is incredibly simplistic. I would say the graphics are good, but again, another thing I will say, it doesn't blow me away as much as the first one. The first one was on Xbox One, and the game was like almost best-in-class graphics at the time from a game studio that's not a giant studio. So to me, to see that, I was blown away. This time around, here we are 7 years later on the Xbox Series X, and the graphics are good, but they're 30 frames, which I'm okay with in this game. I don't really think you need 60 for this kind of game. But at the same time, they're not as good as they were back then. Like, back then, I was amazed at how good it looked. This time, I'm just like, they're all right. They're good, right? So in that regard, I do feel like it's a little underwhelming. Not as high of a level as the first one. Now, I will elaborate on these thoughts tomorrow on the podcast. I don't want to talk about this all night here. But 6 hours in, I've beaten 5, or I'm about to beat 5 chapters. Apparently, the game has 6 chapters. People have said the game is only 5 hours long. That is a lie. The only way you could beat this game in 5 hours is if you already know how to beat it. You know the solutions to every single puzzle, so you don't have to spend time trial and error figuring them out. And you know to skip side content. If you literally don't look for side content and know the solution, you could beat the game in 5 hours, but that's a speed run. So people saying it's 5 hours long have lied. That is completely irresponsible and bullshit. I'm 6 hours in, and now there is no more hidden content to find. I still have a big boss fight at the end of Chapter 5, and then there's an entire Chapter 6 to do. So likely another hour to 2 hours to beat it. So if you want to say it's 8 hours long, that's definitely more accurate. To say it's 5 hours is a blatant misrepresentation of the game meant for people who want to just fucking shit talk, okay? Anyway, overall, I didn't dislike the game. I'm not in love with it. Obviously, I want to see how it ends before I give my final thoughts. Tomorrow, if you want a more in-depth analysis of things about the game, check out the Level 1 podcast. But in the meantime, I'm 6 hours in. I'm pooped. The thing is, I'm not going to get to play this game again until like Monday at the earliest, because tomorrow we got Street Fighter 6, so there's only an hour or 2 hours left. I'm not playing it Friday. Friday's going to be Street Fighter 6 all day again. Saturday is my Indies Marathon, and then Sunday is my React Day. So the earliest I could do this is Monday. It is what it is, right? Well, anyway, thanks, people who attended and everything today. I appreciate that. People did support the streams. I appreciate that very much, and we will wrap it up next week. Okay, speaking of which, tomorrow, Street Fighter 6, it's finally the day. Akuma releases, balance patch releases, year 2 begins. I hope you will join me for that tomorrow if you can make it. It should be a really good time. And I'm excited for it. I really am. I'm excited for Akuma and the balance changes. I'm playing it all day long, so I hope you will join me all day. If you've liked that journey I did last year in Street Fighter 6, tomorrow should be a big, eventful day. Okay, guys? Thank you all. Please have a good night. See you all tomorrow. Peace out.